Hey, with Sloth Tech TV, my name is Edmund, and today I'm going to be talking about the Zoom H4n Pro. We're going to be talking about how to get started, how to use it, a couple of little gotchas I discovered while I was using it the last couple of days, and how to get the most bang for your buck out of this thing. Overall, I love this thing. It's super easy to use, gives you great, clean, clear, crisp audio, and it's at a great price point. If you're wondering why the audio that's coming through your speakers right now isn't super clean, crisp, or clear, it's because I'm actually purposefully using the Rode shotgun mic that's the most popular on Amazon right now for video producing, and I want to show you that with a small investment, the audio you're going to get is going to be way better. With all that being said, I'm going to connect this Sony ECM CS3 lapel microphone directly to the camera, then I'm going to connect it to a small Sony voice recorder I have, and then I'm going to connect it to the H4n Pro, so hopefully we'll be able to hear the difference in sound quality that we get out of all three of those devices. So just to give you an idea of what the audio sounds like coming directly from the camera, I've connected this lav mic directly into the camera's microphone input, and well, you can be the judge of how good it sounds. The next thing that I did was connect the microphone into this handheld Sony audio recorder, and then in post I synced up the audio to what you're hearing now. So if this sounds a little bit better, it's because it's going through this thing's audio processing unit. Similarly to the Sony handheld recorder, I now have the external microphone connected directly to the Zoom H4n Pro. All of the default settings, it's plugged into the back of the external mic jack, and you can totally hear the difference, right? With all that out of the way, I'm going to keep using the Zoom H4n Pro to do my audio recording for the rest of this video, and I'm going to show you how to use it, how to get your first recording done, and like I said, a couple of those little gotchas that I ran into when I was using this for the first few times. So before I switch the audio over to the H4n Pro, I need to turn it on and plug the mic in. So for now I'm using the Sony handheld recorder just so I can go over the external features of the H4n with you. As you can see, it's got two mics. These mics are actually pretty good. I've been impressed with their quality. They record together in stereo, and you can rotate them to get a different angle on the mics from 90 to 120 degrees. On the bottom of it, we've got two XLR inputs. This is super helpful, and the main reason that I bought this thing. I really wanted two XLR inputs because my interest is in podcasting, and I just needed something that could record two separate XLR inputs for interviews and the like. You can see here it also has space for a power supply. The power supply is a separate purchase. I've heard it's super worth it. I put cheap AA batteries in here, over here, and honestly I have not noticed a lack of battery life. I've been actually quite impressed with the battery life. You'll see it also has a speaker and a tripod mount. This tripod mount is super useful. You can get it off the ground and plug in your mics on the bottom and just have it sitting up. If we look over here on the left hand side, there is a separate remote you can buy. There is headphones for monitoring, line in. There's a volume for playback on the speaker. There is USB, so you can connect it directly to your computer, and of course the power button, which has a hold feature, which is always necessary in audio equipment. On the right hand side, we have this little scroll wheel for menu selection. It's not the greatest in the world, but it works. The menu button, that should be pretty self-explanatory, and the record level, which is actually really interesting because on this model you can separate the recording levels of the two XLR inputs, which I think is really cool. So from here what I'm going to do is turn the Zoom H4n Pro on and wait for it to boot up. Once it's booted, you'll notice that one of these three lights light up and one or two of these lights light up. And we'll go over what those mean in a minute. But for now, I want you to make sure that the light that's above stereo turns on. If that's not the one that turned on for you, I'll show you how to change that. You go to menu, and you scroll all the way down, and if you go past it, it's okay, because you can just go up like this, and you'll be there. Go to mode, and make sure you select stereo. Once you're on stereo and this mic button is selected, you're pretty much ready to get started recording, but just for the sake of this video, I'll show you some settings you can check. So for the folder button right here, if you click that, you can see that we're currently on folder 1. That's the folder that's selected. It's not just telling you the name of the folder that's highlighted. If I wanted to record into folder 2, I could click folder 2, and it'll take me back to the beginning. But now if I push folder, you can see that I'm recording to folder 2. I generally always record to folder 1 because as soon as I'm done recording, I pull the files off of the Zoom and delete them from the Zoom itself. If you push this file button, that'll give you the list of files that are in the folder that you've selected. I had a recording earlier, so that's what's in there right now. If I wanted to play that, I would just push this play button right here, but I don't want to do that, so we'll go back to the main screen. You can go back to the main screen easily just by holding the menu button for a few seconds, and it closes everything out and takes you right back to the main screen. Now, in order to get started recording, like I said, you want to make sure that you're on these mics. This mic input is these mics up here in stereo mode, and if you're not, if you don't have this mic selected, and let's say you have these guys selected, it's really easy to go back. All you do is push the mic button, and once you have the light on, you can just push the record button once, and that'll arm you. That's ready for recording. As you can see, I'm clipping over here, so the audio that I'm recording is probably going to be distorted. I want to make it real clear that right now I am not recording. I'm just armed to record. This is going to show me what's going on with the levels so I can make any adjustments that I want to. So like I said, I'm clipping. Generally when you're talking, you want to be between -12 and -6 dB. So I'm going to flip this over, and with this record level button, I'm going to go down and just keep talking until I'm right around that -12, -6 level. Okay, that looks pretty good. So now if I wanted to record, all I would have to do is push the record button again. And as you can see, the levels are moving just like it was when we had it armed, and the timer is moving. This is your greatest indicator that you're actually recording something. Don't make the mistake of recording when the timer is at 000 and not moving at all, because you're not actually recording anything. If I want to stop recording, I can push the stop button. It gives me my please wait. And if I want to see what I just recorded, I click the file button. And it's right here. I can play it back by pushing the play button. And as you can see, the levels... That's coming out of the bad speaker from the H4n, so sorry about that. If you want to change what file type you're recording, I currently have it set to 44.1 kilohertz 16-bit WAV files. You can push this WAV MP3 button. This will give you a list of different recording formats that you can choose. Generally, for video production or podcasting, just leave it on WAV 44.1 16-bit. Again, if you want to go back to the main screen, just hold the menu button and it'll take you right back. Now, to go over the gotchas that I ran into when I first purchased this Zoom, the first one is I put the lapel mic that I used earlier into the external mic input right here, and I was getting no levels. So I looked into the documentation on the lapel microphone, and I found that it requires a small voltage applied to the microphone of about 2.5 volts in order for it to work. Now, the Zoom is capable of that, but you have to turn it on in the settings. So in order to do that, you go to Menu, you scroll down to Input, and then from here you go down to Plugin, and you make sure that that's on. See, it says plug in power. If it's on, it'll supply the small voltage to this external mic, but if it's not on, it won't, and your mic might not work. So if I push the menu button to go back, you also have the option for phantom power, which is really good for microphones that require it. Don't turn it on for microphones that don't. You might damage certain microphones if you accidentally turn it on. And also it's got two different options. It's got 48 volt phantom power and 24 volt phantom power. So the other gotcha that I experienced when I was playing around with this mic was I thought that you could only change the level of the two external XLR mic inputs together, meaning they didn't have individual level adjustments. But turns out I was wrong about that. So if you go up to 1-2 link, by default, I think this is on because it was on for me. If you turn this off and you plug in two mics and you're on the 1-2 settings, I think it might work if I don't have anything plugged in. Let me show you. If I turn the record level up, it says target select. Press 1 or 2 key. So I can turn up the volume on just mic 1 or mic 2 by pushing 1 and then changing the input level, or 2 and changing the input level there. Of course, the 1 channel will show on the left input and the 2 channel will show on the right input. So like I said, the Zoom H4n Pro is super easy to use out of the box. I mean, it doesn't take a lot to get a recording going, and once you're done recording, all you do is turn the device off by holding the power slider down. Gives you a nice little goodbye message. Pull out the SD card and plug this bad boy into your computer and get to editing. So at a really fair price point, you can get some phenomenal audio coming out of your videos, your podcasts, your band jam sessions, whatever your audio needs are, in a really easy to use package with the H4n Pro. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let us know in the comments below. We're trying out some new non-Plex related stuff, and it would be really interesting to hear what you guys think about it. Thanks again.